interest for ecology and the biodiversity of the planet. I knew that I was going to go into some type of life science. I did a lot of programs when I was a little girl, and throughout high school that really got me into researching the world around me. I wanted to understand more about myself. So I always use nature as my teacher to learn about me being on earth, why I exist. I would think about questions like, why are the leaves green? And, like why, like the air, what is the air composed of? And I just had such a yearning to learn so much about the biodiversity of this planet, the biosphere. And it was just such a love that I had for it. And I also had just such a yearning to become closer with God. So I saw those two as one and the same. When I was on my search for just helping me connect with the planet and learning more about the planet, and also my femininity journey, that's what brought me closer to God. So I went and I majored in biology, and I loved every class I took. I ended up growing a deeper love for chemistry, and it was just beautiful. I absolutely loved the experience. So I'm from Detroit, Michigan, and I grew up in a 7 Mile area, like very urban city life that's very separate from nature. And I had a longing for being a healer. I watched this documentary that's called Gifted Hands about the Dr. Ben Carson story. He was the first pediatric neurosurgeon who successfully separated Siamese twins, joint in the back of their head. And it really sparked me because, one, he's a Black man, and his story was very inspiring. He grew up in Detroit in a single mother household. And for him to do something so astonishing like that, it just really inspired me, like, oh, I can do anything. So when I went off to college, my first priority was to repair my relationship with nature, because at that point I didn't have one. And I wanted to be a doctor. And when I went off to college, my three priorities was, I said, God, my health, and then my family. And that was in my heart. And really, to be a doctor, I wanted to embody health, because I feel like if you are going to be a certain profession, you should be the example of that. So what God told me was that, well, if you want to help heal people, you have to know what it means to be what you are, right? What does it mean that you are a person of African descent? What is your diet like? What do you need? People of African descent, natural habitats and ecosystems. What do you need to be a fully thriving, healthy Black person? And so that's where my journey started with the spiritual aspect of my development into my womanhood. I had to go back to the basics to know who I am as a water woman, or what you may consider a Black woman. So I read African Holistic Health by Dr. Laila Africa. That was the first book that taught me everything I needed to know, start to finish, on what it means to embody health and to treat others in health, right? And to follow a naturopathic aspect of health. So I was going to school for allopathic medicine at first, and then I just saw a lot of corruption and things that I just could not live with myself had I followed that path. Like this, following the path of nature and healing in a holistic way felt very natural to me. plant-based at that time. I was in a committed relationship with a black man who taught me veganism. He taught me spirituality, knowledge of self, because he was on his journey. So it was such an awakening that I had went through my whole journey. And just to briefly go on about that, you know, Black men have always been my teachers, my masters, my healers, and have really guided me and molded me to be the woman that I am today. So after I graduated college, I was still battling, rather, I wanted to pursue becoming an MD. And what ended up happening, I came into a spiritual organization. My partner at the time was learning Tantra. And we went to a power weekend, and I was contacted by extraterrestrial beings about who I actually am. I went from the knowledge of learning my history of being a woman of African descent and my DNA coming from Africa, but now I'm learning where my soul comes from and my soul mission. They communicated and let me know I am from the dark matter realm of existence. My original name is Inani, and I am on planet Earth. I was sent here to help Black women become superior women and to uplift Black men through sisterhood and community, practicing polygyny, and all of these great things that comes with sisterhood, femininity, uplifting the community of Black people, and uplifting water culture. So I am trained in Tantra. So I am a Tantra practitioner. I went through womanhood initiations for 7 years. I really got in touch with the higher aspect of who I am. Just very grateful to have come full circle and to be able to share my story so that young Black girls across the U.S. can know that there is an alternative pathway for you. So when I was growing up, I just want to say, like, God bless my family. Their hearts are mean well, but I was always the black sheep of the family. Most of them are meat eaters. I grew up off canned foods. I didn't even know what arugula was. I didn't even know what any type of green foods was. But what happened was that when I met my partner in college, like I said, a vessel of a Black man, the spirit was guiding and bringing me exactly everything I needed that I was desiring. I asked him humbly, I said, I don't know how to even shop in the produce section. All I knew was like frozen food and canned foods. Like it was I grew up, I have 11 siblings. I grew up in a household with about 7 of them. So you can imagine a level of chaos and that's going on there. Not as much cooking can get done, a lot of fast foods. So I was humble about when I asked him, because me and him met in a physics class, and I would see him eat his vegan food like raw. He would eat completely raw. And I asked him one day, can you take me grocery shopping in the sense of like, how do you grocery shop? Like, what do you purchase in the produce section? So that's what we ended up doing. And through that, I started to learn how to make vegan food, how to be plant-based. So I've been plant-based for about 7 years now. I had definitely, it's a beautiful journey. I would just say that. And I want to go to the story to talk about this, how I also got into meditation. So I had my aunt, one day I was just expressing to her that I was dealing with anxiety. I didn't use that word, but I just explained to her how I would feel in a classroom. Like I would just feel like I'm going to explode. Like my heart, something's wrong. And so she showed me meditation. And so from that, I was 16 years old. So I was 16 years old. And so I just always inquired. That's one thing about me, is that I inquire. I don't reject information. If something is coming to me, I'm going to keep doing that. I like to be challenged because I love growth. I'm an ever evolving being, and I always want to get better. I never stay in a state of stagnation. Right? So I'm just like a child. I'm just like, give me more. I'm telling the creator, give me more. Like, I want to learn more. I want to grow. And so she got me actually into NDRE. I don't know, something channeled through her to just explain to me, I think you're like NDRE. So I was going through a period when I was 16 of trying to just figure my emotions out. And during that stage of a young Black girl's life, it is so important to learn self-love and learn confidence in your beauty. And NDRE was that for me. She was my spiritual mother through her music. I literally would listen to video, right? I'm not the average girl from your video. My worth is not determined by the price of my clothes. No matter what I'm wearing, I will always be NDRE. See? My mama said, lady ain't what she wears, but what she knows. And I try to make a cushion, it's not an illusion. Diffusion's the name of the game. A misconception, a vast deception. Something's gotta change. Don't be offended, this is all my opinion. Ain't nothing that I'm saying, Lord. This is a true confession of a life learned lesson I will sit here to share with y'all. So get in when you're fitting, go on and shine. Clear your mind, now's the time. Put your salt on your shelf, gonna love yourself, cause everything is gonna be alright. Like, I was singing this song and it was just like channeling through my spirit, like. And there's this verse in video by NDRE where she says, you know, I know my creator didn't make no mistakes on me. My feet, my thighs, my lips, my eyes. I'm loving what I see. And that was going into my subconscious. When I look in the mirror, I'm looking at God. Truly. I am the female persona of God in human form. Right? So along my femininity journey, I had to really embody that, because on my initiations, I had figured out I hated being a woman. I seen no presence of femininity in religion, right? It was very misogynistic, and it was like a hatred of femininity, like with the Bible. Those are false gods. And to embody in my heart the love between a Black man and a Black woman coming together and being the soul image of the creator in harmony, that's God. So when I went on a journey of discovering this, the first experience I had where I really felt like I was talking to the creator, I was overseas and had psychedelics, and I was with my Black man partner at the time. I was speaking to God through him. He was the vessel. That was the closest I had ever felt to God, right? Was working through the Black man, right? Helping to bring us back together. That's the most revolutionary thing a Black woman can do, is to never lose that spark of love for Black men, the Black community, and family, right? And most importantly, yourself. When you look in the mirror, you have to see a representation of God. You know, otherwise you're you have to love your own femininity. You have to love women. That's why I got into poly. I absolutely love poly for Black women. After I experienced my first polygynous relationship with another Black woman sharing a Black man intimately together, like a tri couple, I never wanted to do monogamy again. I truly understood what sisterhood was about. That's what sisterhood is. We can mirror each other and grow in that kind of dynamic. And it works good for Black men because we help uplift him. So it was a beautiful journey. And in that, in my initiations, learning that I am a lioness, right? Listen to Queen Africa. Are you ready? Are you ready? What she say? She said, lioness is on the rise. That's what we are. Water women, we're lionesses, right? That lions move in packs, right? You have the alpha king lion, and then we move in packs. Have a sister wife tribe is coming out, the Maji sister wife tribe. Be a part of it. Learn how to work with your sisters intimately. I started to embody polygyny for African American women because that's when I got a deeper love for myself, because now I see myself in all my sisters. No sister is left behind. My sister needs a husband, so we're going to share our husbands and we're going to have a thriving community. All right, I just want to give a shout out to my father who raised me to be the woman that I am today. Love you, Daddy. Shout out to Master Yao, helping me and teaching me Tantra. Shout out to Master Don. He's the founder of Heart Work Associations. I use heart work daily, and that is what has helped me on my spirituality journey. Last but not least, shout out to my husband, always El Masur, who has helped me film this whole documentary and uplift me and make me feel like the goddess that I am. I love you so much, baby.